What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. In this episode we're going to be going over operators within PHP. Operators play a very important role in the way you deal with code, and in this video I'll show you why. This is part of my PHP tutorials for beginners playlist, where I give you a solid foundation on how to code with PHP before we move on to more advanced topics. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification icon so whenever I create new videos you'll be notified. And as always, code snippets can be found on my website, PixemWeb.com. You can go to the PHP section and then click on the link that relates to this video, which is PHP Operators. So what are operators in PHP? Operators are symbols you use to tell the PHP processor what actions you want to perform. Operators perform actions on operands and they modify values for input. A very basic example is over here. 5 plus 6. The 5 and the 6 are both operands, and the plus symbol is the operator. So the operator will be in the center and it performs actions on the operand that's on the left and right side. So there are three basic types of operators. There's a unary operator, which has just one operand. There's the binary operator, which has two operands, and the ternary operator, which has three operands. And these are the groups that operators fall into. We have arithmetic, assignment, comparisons, increment and decrement, logical, string, array. And then we have the spaceship operator, which is brand new in PHP 7, and then conditional assignment operators. So the first operator we're going to cover are arithmetic operators. As you can see here within this table, we have operators that you're most likely very familiar with. We have the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division operators, represented by the plus sign for addition, the minus sign for subtraction, the asterisk for multiplication, and the forward slash for division. But then we also have the modulus operator, which gives you the remainder of x divided by y. So if x is 5 and y is 2, y goes into x 2 times, so then the modulus operator would return 1. And then we have the exponentiation operator, which is used to raise the base number to an exponent. So over here, I have a code snippet that you could copy to your clipboard and then go into your editor. And for these tutorials, I'm using VS Code, but you could use whatever editor you feel comfortable with. I'm going to go over here within my PHP folder, which is located in my htdocs folder. I'm going to create a new file and call it operators.php. I'll close off the sidebar and paste in that code snippet. Okay, let's save that. All right, so what do we have? On line 1, we have our opening PHP tag. On line 2, we have the variable x, which has the value of 50. Then on line 3, we have the variable y, which has the value of 6. On line 4, we're going to echo out x plus y, which outputs 56. The new line characters, just so that way when we display it within our terminal, you'll see each one on a new line. If you're going to display it in the browser, you would replace the new line character with the BR tag. On line 5, we echo out x minus y, which outputs 44. And then on line 6, we take x and multiply it by y, which outputs 300. Then on line 7, we take x and divide it by y, and it outputs 8.33333333. Then on line 8, we take x with the modulus operator, y, and that outputs 2. And the reason why we get 2 is because 6 goes into 50 8.33333 times, but it deals with it within a whole number. And 8 times 6 is 48, so our remainder is 2. And then on line 9, we have 7 with the exponentiation operator by 7, and that outputs 823,543. But then to keep it with the example that we have here with our variables, on line 10, we have x, exponentiation operator, y, and that outputs this very large number right here. Now let's open up our terminal, and what I'll do is I'll type out PHP, use tab completion for operators.php, then I'll hit enter, and you see we get the results here as well. 56, 44, 300, 8.33333, 2, 823,543, then 15,625,000,000. right here. And that's pretty much arithmetics in PHP. All right, let's go back to the browser. All right, so the next one, we're going to go over the assignment operators within PHP. And we've already seen some of these examples in the previous videos, but there's some extras that I want to show you. So basically, the PHP assignment operators are used to assign values to variables using what you might think of as the equal sign is actually the assignment operator. Okay, so over here in this table, you'll see we have the operator here in the left column. We have the description, the example, and the equivalent to what it is. So the assignment operator assigns the value of y to x. And now we could also use some addition assignment operators as well, and subtraction assignment operators, multiplication assignment, and division assignment, and modulus assignment. So these are the examples of the shorthand versions and what they are equivalent to. So for instance, instead of typing out x is assigned the value of x plus y, we can say x plus assign y, and it'll be the same as this right here. Let's go down to the example down here. I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. Let's go back to our editor. And then I'll paste it right there, save it. And basically what we have is on the first line over here on 14, line 14, we have the variable x is being assigned the value of 30. And we're going to output that on line 15 over here just so we can see that. But then we're going to change the value of x and give it the value of 40. And then on line 18, we're going to say x and use the addition assignment operator, 20, which is the shorthand unary operator. And then we're going to echo x, and the output there would be 60. Then on line 21, we change the value of x to 80. And then we use the subtraction assignment operator to say x, subtraction assignment, 30, and that would output 50. And then on line 25, we're changing the value of x to 3, and then we're going to use the multiplication assignment operator and say x multiplying a sign by the number 20, and that's going to output 60. Then on line 29, we change the value of x to 25. Then we use the division assignment operator, do that by 5, and it outputs the number 5. Then on line number 33, we change the value of x to 70, and then we use the modulus assignment operator by 8, and that outputs 6. So let's open up our terminal, hit the up arrow, and check out those results. And we have 30, 60, 50, 60, 5, and 6. And that's the assignment operator and the shorthand unary operators for assignment. Let's go back to our browser. All right, now we're going to go over comparison operators. Now, as the name suggests, the comparison operators are used to compare two values in a Boolean type fashion. So you can see the table over here. We have the operator, the name, the example, and the result. So for equals, we have the double equal sign right here. So it's going to check, is x equal to y? And if it's true, then it's represented by the Boolean value true. If x is not equal to y, then it's false. Then we have the identical operator over here, the identity, which is the triple equal sign. And what it's doing is going to check to see if x is the same value as y, but also the same type. So, for example, if we have an integer of 3, but then also have a string 3, the value is the same, but the type is different. One is an integer, the other one's a string. So if you use the identical operator over here, that will be false. But if they're both integers and 3, then it'll be true. Then we have the not equal operator over here, represented by the exclamation point with the equal sign. Then we also see it with the lesser than and greater than symbols over here. But you're typically not going to see this within code much. You're most likely going to see this with the exclamation point and the equal sign. Then we also have not identical with the exclamation point and the double equal sign. So it's going to check to see if x is not equal to y, not the same type. And then we have the lesser than operator, the greater than, then the greater than and equal operator, then the lesser than or equal operator. So down here we have a code snippet. Let's copy this to our clipboard. Let's go back to our editor. Let's scroll down over here. Let's paste that in and let's see what we have. All right, so on line 39, we're giving x the value of 70, and then we're giving y the value of 60, and then we're going to give z the value of 70, but as a string. We're going to be using the var dump function that'll display information about the expressions that we're putting forward here. On line 44, we're checking to see if x is equal to z, and that's going to output true. And then on line 45, is x identical to z, and that'll be false. And then on line 46, is x not equal to y, that's true. 47, is x not identical to z, that's true. And then on line 48, is x lesser than y? And that's false. And on line 49, is x greater than y? That's true. And then on line 50, is x lesser than or equal to y? That's false. And then on line 51, is x greater than or equal to y? And that's true. Then we're going to echo out a new line character here, or you can use a BR tag if you want to see it in the browser. That just puts everything on a new line for us. Alright, so let's look at a real world example. Alright, so on line 56, we're going to say that the variable age is assigned a value of 20. If age is greater than or equal to 21, echo, you are considered an adult and can do adult type activities. Else, you are not considered an adult and might be limited on the activities you can do. So basically, we're comparing age, which we know has the value of 20, and saying, is age greater than or equal to 21? Let's save that. Let's go to our terminal, hit the up arrow, and let's see what we get. I'm going to make this bigger. So for the first one, we have true, false, true, true, false, true, false, true. And then it says you are not considered an adult and might be limited on the type of activities you can do. Now, we could always just put in another integer there. Go back down here to the terminal. And then you can see you are considered an adult and can do adult type activities. Change that to 21. Is it greater than or equal to? Should get the same result. And now if we say 20, let's just say this is a string. So I'll put a single quotation marks there. Actually, we'll say 21. So now we're comparing 21 as a string, seeing if it's identical to 21, the number. Now, what do you think we're going to get? They're not identical, so we should get the second else over here. You're not considered an adult. Now, again, the output doesn't really relate to this example, but it's just to demonstrate the comparison. See, you are not considered an adult. All right, so that's comparison operators in a nutshell. Play around with it, try different values, and see what results you get. All right, let's go back to the browser. All right, so now we're going to go over incrementing and decrementing within PHP. With incrementing and decrementing, you're changing the value of the variable. So here in this table, you can see we have the pre-increment and post-increment, and pre-decrement and post-decrement. And these are the effects. So now let's grab this code example here, copy it to your clipboard. Let's go back to our editor, go down a little bit. Let's paste that there. I'm going to close off the terminal for now. All right, so let's see what we have. So on line 65, we're taking the value of 10 and putting it into the variable a. And then on line 66, we're going to echo out pre-increment a, and that's going to output 11. And then on line 68, we're going to echo a, and that's going to be 11 as well. Then on line 71, we're taking the variable b and giving it the value of 10. And then on line 72, we're going to echo out b++ or post-increment. So the first example was a pre-increment, and now this example is a post-increment. And since we're echoing that out, that's going to be 10. Now notice here, both a and b start off with the same value, but when we echo them out, this one here with the pre-increment is going to output 11. With the post-increment, it's going to output 10. And then when we echo b, it outputs 11. So what happens is, with pre-increment, it first takes a, increments it by 1, and then it outputs that result. So that's 11. Here, with the post-increment, it first echoes out the value of b, which is 10 at this point, and then increments it. That's why here it's 10, but then on line 74, it outputs 11. And then on line 77, with the variable c, we give it the value of 10. And then on line 78, we echo out the pre-decremented value of c, which would be 9. So it takes 10, subtracts 1, and then outputs 9. And that value stays true. On line 80, you can see the result from that. But then on line 83, we give the variable d the value of 10. Then we use the post-decrement. We echo that out. That still outputs 10. But then on line 86, when you echo out d by itself, it outputs 9. So let's open up our terminal and see those results in action. Let's save that first. open the terminal, hit the up arrow, and you can see that on line 66, we get 11. Then on line 68, we also get 11. Then on line 72, we get 10. But then on line 74, we get 11. Then on 78 and 80, we get the value 9. And then line 84, we get 10. And line 86, we get 9. So that's incrementing and decrementing. Let's go back to our browser, scroll down a little bit. And now let's talk about logical operators. Logical operators are used with conditional statements and comparison operators to determine what code should be run based on the result of the check. So you can check out the table here. These are the operators that we have. This is the name for them. These are the examples and the results. All right, so we have this code snippet here. Let's copy that to our clipboard. Let's go back to our editor. I'm going to close off the terminal. Then go to a new line, paste that in, save it. All right, so here on line 91, we're taking the value of 60 and giving that to the variable x. Then on line 92, we're taking the value 40 and assigning that to the variable y. And then on line 94, we're using an if conditional. We're going to go deeper into conditionals in another video, but this is a very basic example. We're saying if x is equal to 60, so this is the comparison, but then we have and over here, which is the logical operator, y is equal to 40. If both of those are true, then we're going to echo out x is equal to 60 and y is equal to 40. If one of these conditions is not true, or if one of these comparisons is not true, then we're going to say, sorry, they both need to match. So we have the and logical operator right there, but you could also represent it by the double ampersand as demonstrated over here in line 100. And then on line 106, we're using or, which means either one of these has to be true. So even if one of them is incorrect, as long as the other one's correct, then you're going to get the result you anticipate. And then on line 110, we have the double pipe operator here, which is also used to signify or. And you're often going to see this one used more often. Now on line 114, we have XOR. This one is used to tell you whether or not one of them is true, but not both. And then on line 118, we have the conditional here if x is not identical to 55. So let's open up our terminal, hit the up arrow, and you can see the results here. So for the first one, we can see that we're getting the first echo over here. X is equal to 60 and y is equal to 40. Because x is 60 and y is 40. But then over here on line 100, we're saying is x equal to 60, that is true, and is y equal to 2, that is false. So we're getting the second result, both need to be true. Then on line 106, we're saying is x equal to 60, we know that's true, or is y equal to 30, that's false, but since x is equal to 60, the whole equation is true, because at least one of them is true. Alright, on line 110, we're doing the same thing, and again, as long as one of them is true, the whole equation or the whole expression is true. Then on line 114, we're using XOR, and now we say if x is equal to 60, XOR y is equal to 10, we echo out true if either is true, but not both. Now, if we change this to, let's say, 40, let's give ourselves an else over here. And now for the else check, we're saying that if they're both true, what's going to be the result of XOR? Well, they shouldn't both be true. So this is going to echo out, they both can't be true. Save that. Go down to the terminal, hit the up arrow, and you see, well, let's put in a new line character here. Save that. Hit the up arrow again, and you see we get the second result because both x and y cannot be true. And then on line 120 over here, x is not identical to 55. So then we get this result here. And that's the basics of logical operators. You're going to use them a lot with conditional checks. You're going to use them with comparison operators. And you're going to see a lot more examples as we go through the various tutorials in this series. All right, let's go back to the browser. Let's scroll down a little bit. And now we have string operators. And you basically have two operators that you can use for strings. One is the concatenation operator, and the other one is the concatenation and assignment operator. So here you have the period is the operator used to concatenate. And in this example, you're taking B and appending it to A. And then we have the concatenation assignment operator with the period and equal sign. And let's grab this code example here, copy it to the clipboard, go back to our editor. Let me close off the terminal, Scroll down, paste that in. And basically, you're going to see here on line 126, we're taking the string hello and assigning that to the variable x. And then on line 27, we're giving the variable y the value of world. And notice that we have a space here. And then we're going to echo out x period y. And that's going to give us hello world. Then on line 136, we have x period assignment operator, or the concatenation assignment operator, y. And that's also going to give us hello world. Let's open up our terminal, hit the up arrow. Well, first we got to save here, then hit the up arrow. Then we have hello world, hello world, hello world. This third one is coming from the final example over here. Now, if you didn't have the space here in the string, and you save that in the terminal, once you hit the up arrow, you're going to see that hello world is one word. So the way you could deal with that is, let's say on line 128, we're going to give it a space, then put in single quotation marks, put a space in there, and then concatenate y to that. So notice what I'm doing. And this you're going to see often in code. You're going to see x or some variable. You're going to concatenate an empty white space, and then you're going to concatenate the rest of what you want. So once you save that, go to the terminal, and you see for that first example on 128, we now get that space back. Okay, let's go back to the browser. Let's go down. Now let's look at the array operators. So here in this table, you can see the various operators we have. We have the union operator, which is represented by the plus sign. And then we have the equality one, identity, inequality. This is also inequality, and non-identity. All right, so now let's copy this code snippet here to our clipboard. Let's go back to our editor and see what happens there. Let me close off the terminal. Let's paste that in. All right, so you see here, let me save that. On line 150, we're assigning an array, and this is an associative array, and we'll go deeper into arrays in an upcoming video, but this is a basic example. We have an associative array here, and we're assigning that to the variable x. And then on line 151, we're taking another associative array and assigning that to the variable y. And then on line 152, we're taking x union y and assigning that to the variable z. And then we're going to use our var dump function to see what the result of that is going to be in terms of z. And then we use var dump on the other ones as well. Let's open up our terminal, hit the up arrow, and we see, let me make this a little bit bigger. With var dump, for the first one, from line 153, we have an array with 6 items. Now initially, x and y both only have 3 items. Red, green, blue for x, and then yellow, orange, and pink for y. But since we used the union operator over here to combine x and y into z, it put them together. Red, green, blue, yellow, orange, pink. And then we use the var dump function on these other operators as well to see if x is equal to y. And since they're not, we get false. And the same thing for line 155, they're definitely not identical. And since they're not, on line 156, we check to see if they're not equal, and that comes out to true. Line 157, they're also not equal, so that's true. And then they're definitely not identical, so that's true. Now, when we get into arrays, we're going to start seeing how to use more of these operators, and a lot of it will make more sense. But we're building up slowly so that way you can have a general understanding, and then we're going to fine-tune that in real-world examples. All right, let's go back to the browser. Now scroll down over here. Now, new in PHP 7, we have the Spaceship Operator, and it's used to compare two expressions. It's also known as the Combined Comparison Operator. So basically, the Spaceship Operator, it's going to return either -1 if, let's say, A is lesser than B. It's going to return 0 if A is equal to B, or it's going to return 1 if A is greater than B. So check out this table over here so you can see what the examples are. And then we have our code snippet here. Let's copy that to our clipboard. Go back to our editor. I'm going to X out the terminal here, paste in that example there. And then basically, we're comparing these integers. We're saying is 1. We're going to echo out the result of 1 Spaceship Operator 1, and that's going to output 0. And then we're going to say 1 Spaceship Operator 2, that's going to output -1. And then to Spaceship Operator 1, that's going to output 1. Then we're going to do the same thing with floats. We're going to use 1.5 Spaceship Operator 1.5, and then 1.5 Spaceship Operator 2.5. It's going to output -1. And then 2.5 Spaceship Operator 1.5, output 1. Then we're going to look at strings as well. All right, let's open up our terminal, hit the up arrow, and see the results. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Alright, so for the first one, since 1 and 1 are the same, it outputs 0, which for the spaceship operator means true, or it means that they are equal. 1 is equal to 1. On line 165, since 1 is less than 2, we output the result -1, because 1 is less than 2. Then on line 167, we know 2 is greater than 1, so it outputs 1. Now, don't get confused, it's not outputting 1 because of the value here 1. This is if the left operand is greater than the right operand, then you get the positive number 1. If the left operand is less than the right operand, then you get -1 to mean that this is lesser than 2. But if they're both equal, if both the left and right operands are equal to each other, then it outputs 0. And these are the results here. So the same thing with floats. Get 0, -1, and 1. And then with strings, it's comparing the two strings together. X is equal to X, so we get 0. X is not equal to Y, and X is actually less than Y, so we get -1. And then Y is greater than X, so then we get 1. So the spaceship operator is definitely beneficial since it gives you a shorter way to do some types of comparisons to see if integers or floats or strings are equal to each other, and outputs or gives you a result that you would anticipate either less than, equal to, or greater than. And when we get into conditionals and in some more advanced tutorials, I'll show you how this can be applied. All right, let's go back to the browser. And you can see here in this table, we have another example here that gets a little bit more complex. So you can try to create some different expressions and see what the generated output is going to be. All right, let's scroll down. Now we have the conditional assignment operators. And for this one, we have the ternary operator. And then we also have the null coalescing operator. For the null coalescing operator, it's introduced in PHP 7 as well. We're using an earlier version of PHP, which you definitely shouldn't be using. But if you are, then this one's not going to work. But since PHP 7 it's what's recommended now, null coalescing is something that you have available to you. Alright, so basically, this is the operator, the question mark and the colon symbol creates the ternary operator. And what we're doing in this example, we're saying the variable x, and then we have the expression 1. If expression 1 is true, then we'll output something, which is represented here by expression 2. And if expression 1 is not true, then we're going to output expression 3. And then null coalescing is doing something similar, but is also checking to see if it's set. Because if a variable is not set, then you're going to get undefined variable warnings and things of that nature. But let's look at some code examples below. Let's copy this example to our clipboard, go to our editor, let me close off the terminal, paste that in, save that. So this is a very basic ternary operator example. We're saying the variable var is assigned a value of 5, and then we create another variable var2, and here we're saying if var, which is 5, is greater than 2, then we're going to output yes. If var is not greater than 2, then we're going to output no. Then we're going to echo out var2. Open up our terminal, hit the up arrow, and you see we get yes for that. But now, if we change 2 to 7, we now get no. So that's a ternary operator. This is shorthand for something like, let's say, if var is greater than 7, echo yes, and then if it's not, echo no. Save that. Come down here, we get no, no. Actually, just put in a new line character there. Save that. And you see no and no. But you also see that this is a lot more compact than doing this if else over here. All right, let's look at some more examples. Let's go back to our browser. Now this one just shows you if you're going to be fetching some data from a database. This shows you a null coalescing example. we have username is assigned a value of get user. This is the get superglobal, then user. And then if we don't have the user, then it outputs nobody. That's equivalent to this ternary operator, which let's say username. If it's set get user, then we're gonna get the user. Otherwise, nobody. And then here you can see that it can be chained together, meaning you could use two null coalescing operators. So here we're using username. Now we're going to do either the get or post. Post is another super global. And then if we don't have either, we're going to output nobody. Let's copy that to the clipboard and go back to our editor. Let's paste that in, save it. In the terminal, hit the up arrow, and we actually have to echo that out. So I'm going to copy this here, paste it there, paste it there. And then I'll also take the new line character just to give us a new line for each of those. Put one there as well. All right, let's go down to the terminal, hit the up arrow, and then you see we get nobody, nobody, nobody. We get that because one, we're not connected to a database in this example. And when we go into MySQL and how to use PHP with MySQL, I'll show you more in depth on how to get this done. But this is a basic example of using null coalescing. All right, let's go back to the browser. And here's a couple of other examples here. So this is a very basic conditional example. This is what you might often see if is set else example. Let's copy that, go back to our editor. Let's paste that in and go back to the browser. Let's see the same example, but with the ternary operator. Copy that, go back to our editor. Let's paste that in, back to the browser. And then let's copy the last example for null coalescing, back to the editor. And let's paste this in. All right, so I want to get a couple of new line characters here so we can get some spacing. Paste that in these locations. All right, so we're trying to get the same result. So here on line 219, we're saying name1, this variable, is going to be assigned a value of j. Then we're going to say if is set name1, echo name1. If it's not set, then we're going to echo name1 variable is not set. Here, we're going to do something similar. In name2, we're going to give it the same value of j. Then we're going to echo out. We're going to create a new variable. We're just shortening this up a little bit. Name check. If it's set name2, then we're going to output name2. If it's not set, then we're going to output name2 variable not set. But then on line 234, we're going to create the name3 variable and give it the same value, j. And then we're going to echo out a new variable, name check. It's going to check if name3 is set, then it's going to echo that out. And if it's not set, it's going to say name3 variable not set. All right, so let's go to our terminal, hit the up arrow, and see what we get. All right, so we get j, j, and j. So they're all set. Now, let's say name1, we're going to change that to just name. Save that. And we'll do the same thing for name2, same thing for name3. Save that. Go back to our terminal, hit the up arrow, and now we have name1 variable not set, name2 variable not set, and name3 variable is not set. So you see three different ways to do this. You have the standard if-else conditional is set check, which is what you're going to see often, and it's a very basic way of getting it done. Then you also have the ternary operator example, which shortens it up in this manner. So instead of having multiple lines, we have just this one line here with the is set, and then we can even shorten that up even further with null coalescing and do it in this way. So as you get more advanced as a coder, as a PHP developer, you're going to go from very basic implementations to using more advanced features. It'll save you on typing and it'll condense your code. All right, let's go back to the browser. I have a couple more examples over here as well. So if you want, you can copy them to your clipboard and play around with those. But this one is just about how you can chain with right associative semantics, the null coalescing operator, and how it's equivalent to this multiple line over here. All right, so one thing you have to know about operators in PHP is that they do have precedence. And if you're familiar with algebra, then you know the acronym PEMDAS is parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. What this means is is that whatever comes in parentheses first, that has higher precedence than anything else. Then we have exponents. Then multiplication and division have greater priority than addition and subtraction. So in this example over here, 5 plus 4 times 2 is equal to 13, not 18. And the reason for that is that we first take the operands 4 and multiply that by 2, which gives us 8. And then we add 5 to that, which gives us 13. But if we did it just straight up from the left to right, then it'll be 5 plus 4 times 2, and that will give us 18. But if you want to get that result, then you have to wrap the 5 and 4 inside of parentheses, and then you get the result 18. Because first it's going to say 5 plus 4 equals 9, then times 2 is 18. And then I have a whole table over here on operator precedence. You can check out the associativity, the operators, and additional info. Now there's a lot of information here. Definitely take the examples from above, and you can play around with them and see the results that you get. But one thing you're going to want to remember is that parentheses will make your code easier to understand and guarantee the order of operations of your expressions. A lot of mistakes can happen if you do not fully implement or understand how operator precedence works. Alright, so hopefully you found this video helpful where I gave you an overview of the various operators we have within PHP. It's a lot of information that we covered, but it's definitely important, especially if you want to take your PHP development skills to the next level. And we're going to see a lot of these different operators being used in upcoming tutorials and in more advanced tutorials. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification icon. If you have any thoughts, ideas, or suggestions, leave them down below. Share this video with anybody you feel might benefit from it. And remember, code snippets can be found on my website, PixemWeb.com. Alright, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.